Welcome back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi Guapamoto, and today I'm here to inform you that you don't own anything. We all have heard the saying, you will own nothing and be happy, but the funny part about it is you already actually own nothing. And in today's video, I'm going to expose that to you. Please have your mind open. I think that you're going to realize something truly amazing in this video, and it's that all of the control is in the hands of governments and people who can print money, and it is not in the hands of individuals. So let's start with this. All right, let's say you want to buy a car. You go to the dealership, you ask for a loan on the car, you then pay off your car over a couple of months, and then after 12 months, after 24 months, you pay the car off and you think that the car is yours, except the car is actually not yours. The pink slip does not actually mean that you truly own the car, right? Because the car can be taken away from you at any time if you do not pay the insurance and if you do not pay for the registration, which is a yearly occurrence that will keep going no matter what. You will pay that forever. And if you ever stop, you will lose the car and you'll also go to prison. So you actually don't own the car. Let's say you want to buy a house and then you take out a mortgage. That's a form of debt. So now you are a slave to the bank or whoever lent you the money for the house. You eventually pay off your debt. You pay off the house. You are no longer a slave to the bank. And now you own your house. You have the deed to your house. Except you don't actually own the house because every single year you will pay a property tax. And if you ever stop paying the property tax, they will take the house away, even though you owned it. And now you're going to prison as well, by the way, for not paying property tax. Not only that, but the government can just seize the land outright for any reason. If they say that there's new zoning laws, or if there's eminent domain, or if they find that it would actually be better use as a form of public property and they turn it into a park or a parking lot or whatever it is, your house will be bulldozed, you'll be thrown in prison, and that's game over for you. So regardless of a deed or not, you don't actually own the house. When it comes down to your stocks, let's say you have some equities, you have some derivatives, you own some sort of financial product with a brokerage account, with your bank account, whatever it may be, you don't actually own those stocks. The stocks in your portfolio are actually owed to you, right? They're owed to you. If you were to decide to sell, then yeah, they're owed to you. They could try to give you your cash, but what happens when Robinhood turns off the buy button? What happens when Robinhood decides, oh, we're actually not paying you that amount of money that you tried selling your shares for? Also, the circuit breakers are crashing right now, and we're no longer going to be paying out any money from this time to this time while the stock price drops down in value. You don't actually own stocks. They are owed to you. They're a liability on the brokerage's balance sheet. What about the money in your bank? The money in your bank is not your money. Most people know this. The reason why it's not your money is whenever there's a financial crisis, you find out pretty quick that the money was actually never there, and it was also never your money. When you deposit money into a bank, what you're doing is you're asking the bank to watch it for you. You're giving the bank money. You're lending the bank money. Now that you've lent the bank money, they can do whatever they want with your money. That is the contract that you agree to when you deposit at a bank. The bank can lose all of your money, and if you try to go withdraw, they can tell you, hey, we don't have any, but you're the one who trusted me. The money is no longer yours. It is a liability on the bank's balance sheet. They don't like it when people have too many deposits in the bank and then they try to get those deposits back. That's a liability. That means that the bank has to actually have the money there. And the bank doesn't actually want to do that. They want to gamble your money away and hope that you never ask for it back because it's not there. It's gone. What else do you not own? People also don't even really own their identification. You don't even own yourself, right? When you think about your ID, it's government issued. It can be revoked if you do not renew it every couple of years. And furthermore, when it comes to something like a passport, which you also pay for, that can also be revoked. It can be frozen. It can be blocked. It can be red flagged, right? So your ability to move freely is also blocked and controlled by the government. It's also issued by the government. That's a level of control, and it's a system that allows for governmental institutions not only to track their citizens and also track their movements, but to limit and facilitate how they're going to crack down on certain people's movements whenever they do something that they don't like. This is also true for your banking account. Intellectual property and copyright, right? You don't actually own the things that you create, especially in the age of AI, as all that stuff is getting more and more murky. The waters are getting murky. Stuff is getting taken away. Things are being copied 1,000 times over by AI. Even still, when it comes to copyright and intellectual property, if you're not paying the government and the legal system and the legal structures in place, you actually don't own any of your intellectual property. You don't own any of your copyright. You're asking the government to let you own it, right? And you're also paying them to let you do that. When it comes to a license to operate a vehicle, sure, you might need a little bit of teaching and a little bit of instruction on how to operate it so that you don't hurt people, right? But issuing a license for that, issuing a license to record, issuing a license to have a radio station, issuing a license in order to basically do anything, making a license for something that anyone could do anyway is a way of repressing people and extracting a fee from those who create and giving it to people who do nothing, right? Creating a fee, creating a license, creating a permit that you have to do something that you would have been able to do otherwise is a way that the doers get taken away from by the non-doers, right? Matthew Crowder has a really great video on this. Firearms and other like restricted goods. Again, you should have certain type of training in order to use a firearm, but most things have a license, right? You need to have your license to have your firearm. Who is that issued by? It's issued by the government. You don't actually own your firearm. If they ever say all the licenses have been revoked and they're now null and void, and if you have a firearm, you're going to prison. It's because they've always had the control structure to make sure that they actually own the firearm. You don't have the firearm. You're just leasing it. You're just renting it. You're just allowed to rent it, right? Even though you've paid it off. When it comes to technology, there are certain companies where even printers, right? If you pay for a printer, but then you don't pay the monthly subscription for your new printer fee, right? Your new monthly HP printer fee, then your printer will stop working. You don't actually own the printer just because you paid for it, right? You have to continually pay for it forever. Otherwise the product's not going to work. If you buy an Apple phone and something's wrong with it and you try working on it, right? Not only is your warranty completely voided because you tried fixing the faulty product that was built with planned obsolescence in mind, but also Apple is actively working to make phones non-repairable. You cannot operate on your phone. No one can fix your phone. They're working to make these pieces extremely fragile and also extremely hard to fix. So that way you have to buy another one, right? You don't even own the phone after you've purchased the phone. You're simply renting it, right? And pretty soon, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a thing where you need a monthly subscription in order to access and use iOS, in order to use Android's OS, right? And if you don't pay the monthly, then your phone's not going to turn on, right? So I just find that very interesting. Forced government actions during times of crisis, right? During times of crisis, there will be rent controls, there will be price suppression, there will be price controls, there will be confiscation, there will be restrictions, there will be a restricted amount of money that you're allowed to have in your account. You cannot withdraw a certain amount of money. Prices will be fixed to certain places, to certain numbers, which means that businesses are going to suffer. Many smaller businesses will go under. They will be devoured by larger businesses. And if you have gold, right, maybe gold, this has already happened before. In 1971, the convertibility of the dollar into gold was removed by Nixon. And if you had gold, you were going to be thrown in prison for 10 years, and you were also going to be fined about $10,000. At that time, that was upward of $200,000. That's most people's life savings, right? So the government at any time, once again, can take away ownership because it's a time of crisis. We saw that during the synchronized sneezing of the whole world, that you actually didn't have autonomy, right? You could not leave your confines of your house, right? You could not do certain things. Your mobility was limited, and you needed a government issued license, a government issued stamp of approval in order to do stuff. So once again, it just shows the level of control that governments have over individuals. When it comes to healthcare and insurance, again, if you don't have a certain card that represents that you have insurance, most people won't even see you. You know what I mean? They won't even look at you. You don't have any access to insurance, right? And these are just a couple of different examples, just further showing, especially the bank thing. The bank is the biggest thing. You don't actually own the money in the bank. Most people don't know this. Like, that completely escapes them. They can't even believe that. Just look it up. Like, bank deposits are liabilities, okay? Liabilities are bad. Liabilities for the bank. Your deposit is the bank's liability. That's just how it is. And there are so many different things in life where you might think that you own it or you have ownership of it because you paid for it. You took your time and you took your hard-earned dollars and you paid the thing off and you worked super hard to pay it off. You don't actually own it. You have fake ownership. It's almost like theater, right? You have ownership theater. And in the real world, the government owns all your stuff. The government giveth and the government taketh away, right? And they will eventually take all your stuff away, especially as the dollar begins to fail and as yields begin to continue to invert, as they continue going higher, because treasury market is completely cooked, the bond market is cooked, and they realize that the Fed has no credibility and they've lost all control, right? We're going to see things really spiral out of hand as the dollar starts to die, right? And all these things that I'm talking about won't seem so crazy. All these things have already happened many times to many people, but they're going to become a lot more commonplace during times of true crisis. And I believe times of crisis are unfortunately right along the horizon, unless we do something in order to change that. And I think that something is Bitcoin. Why do I think that? Well, you're going to have to watch all of my other videos. In fact, watch one of these videos right here. I don't know how to do that thing where I put a video right there. Maybe I can figure it out. Let's see. Either way, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and do that. A lot of my audience is not subscribed. So if you took the time to do that, I would really appreciate it. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, leave a comment. And if you think someone else might learn something, share it with someone. Thank you so much for watching. Stack sats or die trying.